To announce that the Justice Department has secured felony guilty pleas from the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance.
Actually, it's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Largest virtual.
Binance.
Binance. And let me be clear. It's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Council has discussed crypto regulations and legislations at length, and we have come to the conclusion that instead of regulating, we are going to ape a fat bag each into laptop and pump it to over $1,300,000,000,000,000,000,000,000 market cap. Let's fucking go, crackheads.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Morning Coffee. I got my fancy coffee locked and loaded, ready to go, because we need something to sustain this worst month in crypto, which September apparently is, but it's more of a boring sideways grind, so to say. And we're going to address this. So is the cycle over, as many claim, or what can we read out of the indicators that we have so far? And could there be another side to the story where all of that, what is happening right now, is actually a very, 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 very good thing lining up or leading up to massive pumps? That is the question. And we are going to talk about two altcoins today. We are going to talk about Worldcoin as it is moving. Why is it moving? And then we are going to talk about Ecomi as well, as the first week of leaderboards is over. So make sure to stay all the way through here until the end of the stream. So, good morning to each and every one of you. Let's see what we can find out here in crypto. And we do have a view on Bitcoin. Bitcoin today, a little bit red, but nothing happened basically since, I would say, since the 2nd of September, which is almost a week ago. We basically don't have a change in price. We did have some up and down, but overall nothing really happening. Let's argue both sides, right? You know, on this channel we like to look at both sides and then say what's more likely. And on the immediate short term here, I would say that we have touched a bull market support band. In fact, we are sitting on the bull market support band basically, which is a good indicator that the correction, the downside piece might be over, right? So the second part is that actually we are forming something like an inverse head and shoulders on this with a question mark because we did not complete it yet. But also that would be a bullish continuation pattern if we were to break this out to the upside. And from the structure, how it looks, this can only be a matter of a couple of days, which compared with the bull market support band already gives us a bullish view on the daily, right? Then we do see TSI on the daily about to cross bullish, the RSI not overbought in any case. We do see stochastic RSI momentum is still there. The MACD has already flipped bullish on the daily with the recent pump. So the arguments that we might see, at least short term, some more green here are piling up, right? So of course this is only the daily, and I like higher time frames, but we want to really see this complete, right, to determine that we are really getting our bottom already here on this bull market support band. So yeah, exactly as Björn says also, everyone is expecting a dump. So we know what happens, right? And that could be very well the case. We do get economic data tomorrow non-farm payroll. It's the first indication basically on what's going PPI, right, and then what's going on with inflation. So we will get on the 11th of September we will get a whole bunch of inflation data, and that will shapen basically the certainty of the towards the rate cuts, right? And then wait a second, where is it? Should be in here somewhere, right? With the rate cuts in between. It's on the 17th, I think. So there should be somewhere in between here. Where are the rate cut bubbles? There must be something. But anyways, we should get the rate cut very certain, and I think the market is going to gear up into this. Let's look at the other side of the picture on the higher time frame, and that is, for example, if we're looking at let's look at the weekly first. Also here, right, weekly, we do see clearly a break of this downward sloping trend line. We do have a bounce off of the bull market support band, and the RSI is okay-ish, right? 56, nothing too bad here. But the for example, the MACD, no flip yet, right? But we do see there is, and this aligns still with the bullish pattern. It looks like another bull cross is coming in here, like here, right? And when you see also on the weekly, but it's more evident on the monthly, if you have a bull, like this last bull cross resulted in a total 67% move to the upside. So if we were to confirm a bull cross here, and this is the weekly, so we will need the entire week plus maybe one more week, which aligns directly with the rate cuts, to get our next move to the upside, right? So from that perspective, daily bullish, weekly more bullish than not, even though the MACD doesn't show any signs here, and we do have a smaller time frame bear cross here on the TSI. The most relevant time frame is, of course, the monthly, and on the monthly, first of all, the month is still green, right? So let's not forget that even though there is a correction, this month is green. So the correction really happened in the last month, and from all the indicators here, we have to say that let's go one by one. We have the TSI right now for this month, flat, but okay, right? So there is room for another 2 to 3 months rally in this, right? So this is the monthly. So every of these little blips is 1 month. Depending on how hard Bitcoin goes, but right now, this trajectory brings us into January 2026, right? Of course, if we get a rally in October, then we end this in November, right? Something like that. But you see the trajectory clearly going to this trend line. Why is this trend line so relevant? Because it has perfectly called the last 2 bull market peaks, right? So we are going to take this and bet on that it calls one more bull market peak. We do have the RSI usually at the bull market peak in these areas. Also here, downward sloping trend line, with the exception of this fake out, so to say. But we did not come anywhere near this, right? So I do expect that we rally at some point and bring the RSI at least in the 80 territory for Bitcoin. And then the question is when this happens. The rally would be huge. So the question is, will the alts and everything bleed into Bitcoin once again during, for example, October, right? Then stochastic RSI, we do have a bear cross here actually, but let's see how sustainable that is. Overall, also we can see that on this, we do have something like this downtrend, right? So the question is, will we turn around here and break this downtrend on the momentum? Is it necessary? I don't know. Not really. And then we have our MACD in a very long bullish phase, right? So which also aligns with that we are not over here. We did not see a bear cross here on this as well. So all the time frames, so I would say the time frames are looking more bullish than bearish, right? So why is everyone bearish? I think it's a pure fear of that things could go differently than other times, right? So everyone's like, oh, if the bull market ends right now, I would tell you one thing. If the bull market ends right now and we see the typical 60% correction, we would go to 40,000 on Bitcoin, and that would break the entire Bitcoin history pattern. How likely is that after these many cycles, we are breaking every pattern at once, right? Usually history rhymes, repeats, right? So we would, let's say this was the top, and the top was at 124K. So you would go to 40, 50K. You would come down here below this. Usually this does not happen, right? Actually it does happen, but not that steep, right? So here also we went slightly below the top from this bull market here with the bear market. So we should end up somewhere here, right? For the next bear market. This would be like 60,000 or something like that. So either we get if this is the top, right? And we ourselves have the top at this time, right? So timing wise, it would be perfect. 500 days after. So this is a 500 days rule, this would be the top, right? That was the top according to 500 days rule. But every other indicator screams not top. And let me show that to you. Where is it? Here. This list, you don't have to pay for this or anything. You just go to CoinGlass, bull market peak signals, right? You just drop that in Google or something. First result, bull market peak indicators. Drop that in Google. You can have it open as a tab all the time. So it says 100% hold. That doesn't mean it needs to be right, but let's just look at it. We do have pi cycle top indicator not indicating a top, right? Pure multiple not indicating a top, rainbow chart not indicating days of it, 30 different indicators that you can all check out for yourself. Are either, some of them are in the crypto Bitcoin bull run index are at 82%, right? So 80% through. Maybe some we are even almost 90% through, like Bitcoin dominance, right? But overall, none of these have hit. None of these are a check. And once the first is a check, then okay, then caution, right? But one of the most to date accurate ones is the pi cycle top indicator. And the pi cycle top indicator, we can all see that as long as we are moving in a linear uptrend, it will not cross, right? Why are we moving up in a linear trend? Because I think the economic conditions, global M2 expansion is different in every cycle, and it's the so-called business cycle is driving the Bitcoin cycle. And once the exuberant explosion of capital happens, then we do see that the 111 DMA is moving faster than the 350 DMA, and therefore we'll have the cross. But right now that's not the case. So I think that if global monetary policy and the business cycle, or hence the business cycle, is driving Bitcoin, then also no time frame is 100% accurate, because that would require the central banks align on an exact 4-year cycle, right? So thus we have the lengthening cycle theory, and this lengthening cycle theory would put us at a slightly longer cycle this time again. And if that is the case, but this is one theory, right? It's not my theory, because I think it's not lengthening or shortening, it's just different time frames. And if someone would print all the money in one day, then you would have, with a little bit of delay, a massive vertical rise like we had in 2020 to 21, where the money printer had to move faster than in the 2017 cycle. And I think that the slow rise that we have reminds a little bit more of coming out of this 2017 one. And then there must be, or maybe we are in this part, but this last phase is missing, right? And I think that must be coming here right now. Let's see. People will buy like crazy at 40 or 50,000. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, guys, before I continue on this on the chat, let's welcome the Rare Hodlers to the stream. Thank you very much for supporting me all the time. Mewtwo, good morning, Hodler family. Pukal Jotrich is here, morning PH, morning fam. We do have Green Lantern, GM fam. Good to see you all. If you want to support this channel in a free way, then smash up the like button right now for the content that I provide here on an almost daily basis. Secondly, if you want to support this channel, then let's have a coffee here together. And very good, very good. Everyone else, of course, also welcome. If you want to do it in a non-free way, the support for this channel, then you can become a Rare Hodler, just like Mewtwo, just like Green Lantern, just like Pukal Jotrich, and subscribe to the only tier that is there. Is like $5 tier or something like that. It's affordable, gives you access to the Telegram group where we have about 30 people in. And yeah, that's it. And the rest would be, hey, you motivate me to continue with this content. But okay, back to enough with the advertisement and back to the stuff. We do have some more things from the chat. As Mewtwo says, I guess he buys regardless what the market sentiment is. We will see, right? Because right now, I don't know who you mean, but if you mean myself, then I am not buying regardless of the market sentiment, but I am aware, and we're going to come to this, I am aware of the long-term effects of Bitcoin, so I want to have a big fat Bitcoin portion, right? People will buy like crazy 50. Do you think the 4-year cycle will persist, or that it will extend until March or even until end of 2026? As I mentioned before, right? I don't think that the 4-year cycle is really a 4-year cycle. It just happens to be to align. And the reason why I think this is, if you go back into the absolute earliest days of Bitcoin, it's shorter, right? There is no 4-year cycle in the very first piece of Bitcoin, right? And then people are like, okay, there is a 4-year cycle, and that has to do, in my opinion, with monetary policy based on the election cycle in the US, right? The US is the most crucial, most relevant market for crypto right now, and their monetary policy influences everything, which is why we're watching always what Fed Chair Powell is saying, and not whatever central bank chair in the European Union is saying, or something like that, right? So I think we all can agree on that the US market is the relevant driving factor. So what you do have is you have the election year. I think that's the pump year, right, that we had last year. And then you have the post-election year in which Bitcoin tops out, which is now, right? But I would say it's not crystal clear on the month. So I would not be surprised if everyone expects the cycle to end in November and then it continues into the early 2026 into January or so. Depending on monetary policy, right? If the world agrees on massive monetary expansion, which it seems to do at the moment. I mean, you see, you have the big beautiful bill in the US. You have Germany, for example, spending 80 billion out of nothing, right? Out of the money printer. You see that countries all across the world are agreeing on massive stimulus package. So that would be great. Hey, Bodo, is never too late. Never too late. A Bodo always comes at the right time. Something like that. Always when he intends to come correctly. So you are basically Bodo Gandalf. But yeah, I think more or less we will see over time. It will become clearer, and then once everyone knows how it is, then it changes again, right? So probably when enough people look at M2 and so on, it changes slightly. Because if everyone has the information, then people react premature to that information and therefore are shifting what's actually happening. Okay, so that is also a theory that this guy has, TechDev on Twitter. He basically says that this time is different in his way, where he says in the business cycle signal that he outlines here, this business cycle is not over yet, and the parabolic phase comes only when it flips to red. So according to him, we are much farther away from the parabolic phase than we would think, and that would be absolutely nuts if this would play out in this way, because that would give us, I don't know, a couple of months and then another 4 or 5 months of pump until we do have our top signal, right? So just to show you that there are other opinions also out there, or it's the same opinion but stretched. Let's put it that way. So we will see. So basically, he says bear market while the red candles in the business cycle are declining. That's the bear market. Bull market ramp when the bars start to come green. Goes parabolic when the bars go red, right here. Red profile mirrors the parabola profile, and then impulse top at blue peak. That's what you have, right? And according to that, we are not in this phase yet, right? We are not even in this parabola phase according to his model. Let's see if it's correct, because in bull markets there are so many models that are all wrong. Like for example, last bull market, I don't know if you guys remember, but the predominant model was stock to flow from Plan B, and it predicted 150,000, I think 150,000 Bitcoin top, right? And we topped at 69,000. So there were a lot of and this model was, but until we topped at 69,000, that model was correct every month, spot on, with the price that it did predict, and then suddenly it wasn't anymore, right? So this model is spot on right now with what it predicts, but until when, right? And that's exactly, like, I don't have a crystal ball, neither does anyone else on YouTube have. So yeah, that's basically it. So, but why should we not care so much? I mean, even let's just say we get this parabolic phase, 280k, right? And then we do get a sharp drop off, and then the bear market and so on, and we drop all the way somewhere into the area of 65,000, right? For me, that is what I hope happens, because I want to buy in this area, because I don't have enough Bitcoin. So let's listen to what the plan is here, and then you can calculate. That's why we have AI, right? To make easier calculation if we did not pay attention in math class. But listen quickly to the theory around this.
Is there ever too much Bitcoin for you to own? Like, if you could own all of it, would you?
I don't think we'll get all of it. I don't think in the range of 3 to 5 or 3 to 7% is too much. BlackRock has got more than
I
us.
just wonder. I was thinking about the mental exercise of if you could actually own all of it. Like, if you would even, bless you, if you would want it.
Well, you know, we started and we had very little, and Bitcoin was 10,000,
Yeah.
and now Bitcoin's more than 100,000, and 97% of the Bitcoin is worth 10 times as much, and somebody else, not us, has it.
Right.
So as a practical matter, what we're doing is we're monetizing and powering up this.
Oh, I totally get it. I
digital
just
commodity in
mean,
the
if you
world.
owned all of it, would that change the entire behavior of Bitcoin?
Yeah, we wouldn't want to own all of it.
I wouldn't want to.
We want everybody else to have their
that's what I
piece.
think too.
The nice thing there is there's 160 companies that are capitalizing on Bitcoin in the public market, up from about 60 last year. So the Bitcoin treasury movement's exploding. And companies like MetaPlanet in Japan, and Capital B in France, and Smarter Web in the UK, and then there's a raft of them in the US, Anthony Pompliano's company, you know, and 21 they're all capitalizing. The big idea is I take digital capital, I issue digital credit, and a digital credit instrument can either be longer duration or it can be higher performance. We're offering 9% dividend yield with Stretch. The average money market's 4.2% dividend yield. No one would ever want to give a 9% perpetual yield in a bond that's backed by real estate or backed by gold or backed by any conventional fiat asset. But we're investing in Bitcoin, and my 20-year forecast for Bitcoin is 30% a year ARR. So it's easy for us.
So, and that is it, right? The forecast, of course, also he can be wrong, like everyone in the market can be, right? And I think there are two things in it. First of all, what he just mentioned, I think there is the reason for our next bear market is in here, right? Which is that some of these models, like Metaplanet and so on, that they come into financial trouble in the next bear market, and that they have to offload their Bitcoin, basically leading to a situation like Terra Luna collapse, where at that time crypto projects and then exchanges had to offload their Bitcoin into a falling Bitcoin price, accelerating the falling Bitcoin price, right? That is one part. I think that Saylor's strategy will not be part of them. They will survive because they are too long in that game already, so their liquidation price would be extremely low. But I think that other companies that are starting this model right now in this last phase of the market, they will be able they will be more vulnerable to attacks by price on their holdings, right? So especially if they are companies that do not have any other business model besides that, and they have a price beyond the $100,000 where they bought the Bitcoin. So that, I think, could be what happens in the bear market. But talking about the longer term, this bear markets are only opportunities to buy more Bitcoin, right? But longer term, he says that according to all the analysis and so on, and these guys, they spend a tremendous amount of money on analysis, Bitcoin should grow 30% per annum for the next 20 years. So you can make an Excel sheet basically now, or have AI make one for you, and just calculate if you would buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin in the next bear market at, let's say, 75,000, right? Then Bitcoin and then you have your annual growth of I don't know what, right? Your 30%. Calculate that 20 years in the future. So if you're 30 years old, you're 50 by then. You're not even retired then, and you would already have the It would be tremendous, right? So you can calculate how much do you have to put in now, or now or then, so that these 30% solve your money problems, right? How much do you have to side hustle and put in then? And I mean, for some people, $10,000 is unachievable. I'm aware of that, especially if you are in the lower income parts of the world. But then again, regarding, it doesn't matter. You can make the same with $100, right? And calculate that in the future, because usually in these countries, then also keeping, your way of life, how is it called? Maintaining your life and living a good life is then also cheaper in that market, right? So you can make that calculate. Don't come with the $10,000. Take whatever it is, right? I mean, technically, if you were in, I don't know this country, so please don't take this the wrong way. But let's say you're sitting in Zimbabwe, and then maybe it's a $50 calculation, right? And then you are sitting in Colombia, and it's maybe a $500 calculation, and you're sitting in the US, and then maybe it's a $20,000 donation, and you're sitting in Germany, it's a 10,000, right? It doesn't matter. Yeah. So I think it's just about calculating for your own well-being how much is needed to put in to come out at X on the other side, given that the 30% prediction would be correct, or maybe you want to even do it with a slightly more conservative prediction of 25% return, which would be already close to the 20% that Nasdaq yields. I don't think that Nasdaq yields that all the time, but if it happens, 30% might already be on the more conservative side, because ultimately it comes down to money debasement. And ultimately, if we are very, not cynical, but if we are very serious here about what we're really doing, it's finding a vehicle in which outside your window, there is a race every day on who earns more out of their daily hustle, whatever it is, right? Hamster wheel or entrepreneurship or already passive, it doesn't matter. And then a race to the goods. And in that race, it's like a Mario Kart race. The government is driving in the front and throws out the bananas, right? So it throws out money debasement banana skin, right? And you are basically trying to avoid this by having a vehicle that is capable of avoiding that. Because that race to being or to affording a house or whatever, right? Everyone who doesn't participate in that race in any vehicle, investment vehicle, but by foot, is going to be left behind, right? They will slip on every banana. They will not keep up with the ones that chose a bicycle or a car or a rocket, right? Yeah. Time to go to sleep to the stream. Then happy dreams, hopefully, of growing Bitcoin piles, right? But anyways, that is that. Let's take a good look. By the way, I forgot one part of this thing, right? We did see, this adds to the bullish scenario, right? We did see that this is gold against Bitcoin, right? So gold, and then Bitcoin is the pink line. And we did see that gold break out. We observed this here on the channel in the last days as well. We do see that gold breaks out, and Bitcoin did not really follow yet. But usually it takes some time until Bitcoin follows gold. We did see it every time here, right? Basically that Bitcoin followed gold. 1 second, we need to align this. How was it? Yeah, it was like something like this, right? And yeah, we did follow, but we need to follow more, right? So something like that. Usually there's a front run and then Bitcoin goes. Front run, Bitcoin goes, right? So this breakout tells me that there is still room, right? Rudy Cruz and Pram. Referring to the VeVe Grail Grogu in Pram. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at the market on the week, on the day. We do have a couple of movers in the sense of some coins are just doing well. One of them is Worldcoin. We didn't see now to this week it's Worldcoin, right? SPX is also up. Some meme coins are doing well this beginning of the week. We do have Hex also, right? Every time, so everyone who's depressed about their coin, just look at Hex. I mean, Hex is still going up and down, even though that it was clearly wrecked, right? Yeah, but we do have Worldcoin today in the spotlight, and there must be a bigger chart than that, right? Or am I not right about this? Actually, there's not. Yeah, that must be it. That must be the launch, right? And Worldcoin is seems to be breaking out of a downtrend or of a consolidation of a symmetrical triangle, almost, it looks like, right? So Worldcoin right now is on the move, something like that, and I think so usually it's whenever an altcoin comes out with news, right? It's not about you having Worldcoin right now or not, right? That is not the point. It's about the point that in this phase, when altcoins release news, they get attention now, right? So we do see here Worldcoin price rallies amid new quantum security commitment. So they are launching the anonymized multi-party computation with global academic partners. And then also some technicals and so on, right? So we do see that, that we have some altcoins doing well. Last week it was Crow. We do see on the week is Meme Core, still a massive mover, $3 billion market cap. Worldcoin, $2.5 billion market cap. So these are really big coins, right? And it fits exactly the phase of the alt season, or phase of the overlap between Ethereum and large caps, that these large caps are moving at the moment, right? So, isn't Worldcoin the one owned by Sam Altman? Yeah, that might be the case. Actually, let's ask it. Is Worldcoin owned by Sam Altman? Not exactly, but he's definitely deeply involved. Worldcoin, now rebranded as World or World Network, is for-profit cryptocurrency and identity verification project developed by Tools for Humanity, a private company founded in 2019 by Sam Altman, Alex Blania, and Max Novenstern. Sam Altman serves as chairman of Tools for Humanity, while Alex Blania currently holds the role of CEO. Yeah, there we go. Co-founder. But you're right. When people ask is Worldcoin to sell, they often mean, does he lead it or is he the driving force? The answer is yes. He's one of its origins and sits in leadership role. Okay, there we have it. AI delivers. By the way, this is the reason. So I did not Google it, right? So I didn't have to click on 3 links. I just threw it into ChatGPT and there it is. So Google Trends will become less and less reliable because people are looking up stuff like this. So for example, yesterday I wanted to cook something, right? So yeah, the fiancé said, let's do Asia bowl. So I asked ChatGPT about, hey, give me some nice recipe for Asia bowl. I have this ingredient, right? Awesome. Went really nice with the Asia bowl. Now, I did not use Google. I did not have to go through 50 blogs. I did not have to look into 3 different recipes to find one that fits the ingredients that I already have at home. I just threw all the ingredients that I have and say, hey, what bowl can I do out of it? And then it selected this, and then I can even add like, hey, by the way, I do also have lemon and ginger. So can I add this here? Yeah, and then bam, then it refines the recipe. What I want to say with this is, first of all, Google search trends will be more and more unreliable. Secondly, people will not use 90% of what is in the traditional internet. Very likely, once AI is adopted, 90% of these things will just go dead, right? Who is going to read a blog or any website of that matter if you just can have AI put this together, right? Maybe there will be some blogs that are so good that they will survive this, but many of these blogs, I mean, how annoying is this? You go on a blog and then boom, the thing that you're reading goes down because there's an ad opening and so on, right? So yeah, really annoying. And then with that, many companies are doing advertisement through these blogs, but then these companies will not get the same traction anymore on those advertisements. So they need to find new ways to advertise, because you can see here on this, there is no advertisement for this new sauce or something like that, right? So yeah, exactly. AI is scraping it all from the web, but it's still not the same, right? if people stop making content, AI stops working. That is very true. That is very true. That is a good thought. But the question is, in which way will people make content, right? And even if they do, does AI give them once it's scraping it from the web? Does AI give them traction on their advertisement or not? But you're right. If people stop putting input into AI, it's not dead then, but it will not evolve at the same race. But we will see. I mean, at some point, it doesn't need any input anymore. We saw that with chess AI. So the first iteration, it needed correction from human beings. Then in the second iteration, it did beat every human being on the planet. And then on the third iteration, the next model did beat the one that was beating the human beings 100-0, right? So then it did not need any input anymore, because no human being can give any input anymore, because it basically just calculates everything. So of course, with creative stuff, the question is, how much are you in creative AI, right? Like, is AI creative, or is it just scraping together data and giving you what's there, right? And then cooking and art and many forms of sports, and so nothing of that is mathematical, right? So it's way easier for AI to dominate mathematical stuff right now than the one that needs creativity. But back to the topics here on the crypto, we do have still a little bit of Ecomi in front of us, and we do see that the correction for Ecomi goes on, right? We are here on the weekly. So Ecomi is, of course, after this pump, correcting a little bit. We are now at 0.0029 for Ecomi. Let's see how that develops. But we are still holding. We are still holding an an okay-ish level right now. But I really want to see at some point, maybe after September or so, even if we go down, we could go back all the way down here and test 0.0023. But I want to see a continuation pattern that goes something like this, right? On Ecomi. So that you clearly have a higher low and then put a higher high in here, something like that, right? That's what I want to see. Maybe a little bit steeper than I drew this, but I think that is necessary for Ecomi. Okay, so what happened is we do have the first leaderboard, Ecomi leaderboard, over. So there was 1 hour left when this came out and so on. But basically this leaderboard did end. And I think, I'm not sure if the points are correlated with OMI. Yeah, with OMI burn, I think, yeah. So here OMI burned. So we see that 2 people did burn 500,000 OMI. So together 1 million. And then a lot of people did burn 200,000. We do have a couple of people that are close to the 200,000, like VeVe Meister. And yeah, so first good week for the OMI leaderboard. And I hope this continues in this way, because then if every week they burn like a couple of million OMI, that's good already. And then they need to see how this can increase, right? People saying stop promoting it. I figured it all out. Start promoting after first week. Yeah, exactly. But okay, so that means they are going to. I saw it somewhere. There is a reward of, I think, 1 million or so, right? So, but to burn 500, almost 600,000, you need to spend quite some OMI also, right? In total. But people if they spend the OMI, they did buy collectibles, which adds to the collectible market volume, and also adds to the fees that VeVe makes, the licensors getting fees and so on. So overall, it brings movement into the ecosystem. It might have raised some floors. That is yet to be seen. But let's see. So that is important. I saw this also regarding NFTs, right? And this might be where you can really say, okay, the bottom is in. So this guy, Ryder Ribs, he says, I just sold my Bored Ape today for $37,000. I bought it for $425,000. That's almost $400,000 hole in my chest. And honestly, it feels deserved. Here's the story. 3 months ago, I told myself I wasn't just buying a JPEG, I was buying culture, I was buying access, I was buying a ticket to the future of the internet. Today, that future looks like me sitting in the Buffalo Wild Wings in Paramus, New Jersey, with 3 grown men in faded BAYC hoodies, watching a muted TV playing highlights from lacrosse game none of us cared about. One guy kept showing me his newest pickup, a polygon frog with laser eyes, and he swears the next BAYC. He bought 7,000 of them, they are worth $19. Another guy explained in detail why his girlfriend doesn't get NFTs but actually sleeps in different apartment. At some point, I suggested we all do the ape handshake. Nobody knew what that meant, so we just sat there in silence looking at each other while the waitress asked if we wanted more ranch. That was the moment I knew it was over. I didn't just lose money, I lost years, I lost hope, I lost the ability to look my accountant in the eye without him audibly sighing. So yeah, the ape is gone, no utility, no community, no handshake, just a picture of a monkey that cost me a house. Sounds like the bottom is in. Sounds like the bottom is in. How can I edit a post? A lot of people are not understanding. I love the ape community. But yeah, he said, why sell now? Would love to get you on the podcast to talk about your journey, says Randy. Let's see if we have him on Randy's channel then. I am interested what type of swag does your podcast offer. A specific swag, for sure. Yeah, a very specific swag. So here's another one from Wes. Most of the VeVe OGs instantly say Todd, Superman, Rizzo, Partners, and Darth are grails. They have not adapted to current market conditions and apparently don't understand scarcity. Most grails have not even dropped on VeVe yet. And I would say Wes is missing the point because there are grails that are not in this list, and that is like Grogu and Pram. Definitely agree on that. Let's see. Mewtwo says, has anyone tried buying Ecomi with a credit card on Stacker? Is it easy and are you getting a fair market price? Good question. I did not try it yet. To put the Omi burns into perspective, I think around 1,500 burns, around 100,000 Omi. Okay, so that means whatever person has burned like $9,000 or so. Sorry, not burned, but spent $9,000 in the market, which is actually not even a whale. So I don't know why. Why then does VeVe Meister complain about this? This was something. That I said here. Let me see. Here on Twitter, by the way, today I forgot, by the way, to post on Twitter that I'm going live. So sorry about that. But here he says, I just found out that the dude leading Omi leaderboard reward is in fact a VeVe whale. Boo, JP Morgan, you're not fun. Funny thing, JPEG Morgan. Actually a really nice name. JPEG Morgan, you're not fun. Haven't you watched my all new VeVe shorts? This was supposed to be a whale-free game. And I said I disagree. Why should that be a whale-free game? We should be happy about whales in the market. I stand by that position. because I do think that whales are part of the market. Every healthy market in the world has whales. The stock market has whales. The housing market has whales. Real estate, right? Even the job market has whales, right? Not on the searching part, but on the hiring part, right? So every healthy market, I'm not saying that the job market is healthy, by the way, right? But every market has whales. So if your market does not have whales, then your market is not interesting, right? So whales appearing in this, like here, this JPEG Morgan on the reso, for example, right? He has 26 resos. Whales being in this market is a good sign, right? You want to have people that are stacking like crazy. Please hit the likes, everyone. Yeah, Bernard Donaldson. Good morning, PH. I hope you're enjoying your coffee. I do, in fact, I do. Still patiently waiting for that all season. Me too. If VeChain goes nuts, we made it, right? Not if, when VeChain goes nuts, we made it. But anyways, we do see a little bit of decline in the, not decline, yeah, it's a slight decline, like sideways decline in VeVe users. That has to do probably with not that hyped up drops. And we do see also that many altcoins went silent. I think they are all, like the altcoin producers, they went silent because they are looking at the market and say, hey, if September is a bad month, then let's just not drop anything in September and we drop everything in October. I bet that we will see this, exactly this, that in October, when prices pump, all hell breaks loose, because everyone that has piled up news, drops, whatever, they will all pump it out then, trying to capture the attention, right? So it's really now a waiting game, 22 days out, until we will see Bitcoin's best month in history, which is October, usually with almost 50% returns, somewhere there. So imagine Bitcoin going up 50%. What is that, like 170,000 or 80,000? That would be it, right? 666k plus total wallets and only around 1k active wallets. That's so crazy. I think many, like you can easily deduct 300,000 whale wallets and then another 300,000 who just don't do anything. And I know at least 5 people that have wallets with some collectibles in here that have not logged in years, right? Yeah, I know 5 people. At least 5. And then I know some people, besides those 5, that only log in like every 2 weeks or so and just look what's going on. So, but be assured that the moment that some of the floors really start rising, these numbers will quickly double on the active user side as well. We do see it on interesting drops, right? And we do see it also here. Look at the market, for example. Someone's minting. Some wallets are minting. I don't know what they are minting because it somehow doesn't show. But someone's minting like hell. What the heck is this? Does it say any name or something like that at least? No. Okay, so we don't really know what that is. Oh, by the way, that was an hour ago, so let's refresh. That was an hour ago. Now we do have some transfers. Yeah, but still, there are some token IDs on the Mutascan that we just don't know what it is. But here, right here, it starts. This token ID, I don't know what it is, but some wallets are minting the crap out of this thing, whatever it is. Well, for sure, that's not bad, right? So someone's treasure hunting, I guess. Yeah. But anyways, guys, for today, that is it. Smash up the like buttons, subscribe to the channel, notifications on, very important here to support the channel. And Also, let me know in the comments later below what you think about the market in those current conditions right now. Enjoy your coffees, and wherever you are on the world, have a great morning, evening, day, night, or afternoon. I see you in the next